there's anyone out there feeling lost and burdened with pain, thinking they don't belong anywhere, it's okay. There must be a place for you somewhere. I'll sing a song that whispers that into your ear. I made it to a major debut from a life at rock bottom. No matter how famous I become, I vowed to never forget to empathize with others. My name is Marissa. I'm 27 years old. Both my parents graduated from a prestigious music university. Dad plays the piano, Mom the violin, and naturally my sister Maya and I were sent to piano lessons from a young age. We're what you'd call a musical family. But just because my parents graduated from a music university doesn't mean they're artists. Dad teaches piano at a major music school. Mom used to teach violin, but she started giving private lessons at home after I, the eldest daughter, was born. Our house is completely soundproof, so no matter how poorly I played my practice pieces, we never got complaints from the neighbors. Maybe this can be considered making a living from music. Dad wasn't a high earner, but we lived in a suburban Boston house with a yard and a grand piano. My paternal and maternal grandparents, who sent their children to music universities, were quite wealthy. Both sets of grandparents were overjoyed by their marriage, having met during their music university days, and they helped a lot when my parents built their house after getting married. I guess for both sets of parents, sending their children to music universities was a bit of a status symbol, like a brand preference. It's no surprise that 2 music university graduates wanted their children to be involved in music. But I hated piano lessons. The Bayer method was just boring, endless repetitive practice, no fun at all. I would bang on the keys, singing weird songs I made up, always getting scolded by the piano teacher. I was a problem child. Maya, who started 2 years after me, was a model student who listened obediently to the teacher. And being very cute, it was understandable that my parents' expectations focused on her. As for me, to put it mildly, I wasn't exactly cute. So it made sense that my parents' affection was more on Maya. Not just our parents, but both sets of grandparents and other relatives too. I was always compared to Maya, always in her shadow, always the less talented and less cute one. Not just her parents and grandparents, but also the piano teachers and adult relatives. Nobody paid much attention to me. Maybe I should have diligently practiced piano and shown the hardworking side. Maybe I should diligently practice piano and show a hardworking side. But because what if I try my hardest and still nobody recognizes me? That thought scared me. So I decided to remain a failure from the start. I loved music, but I quit piano lessons. My quitting probably didn't surprise Dad and Mom, considering what they must have heard from my beginner lessons teacher. Neither of them said anything when I quit. Sometimes when I felt like it, I played random melodies and sang along on our home piano. It was a mess with no foundation, but it was fun.
You can't, big sis. You shouldn't touch the piano, and your playing is all over the place.
May reprimanded me one day as I sang joyfully.
It's fine, it's fun. You should try too.
Hesitantly, she sat next to me and started hitting the keys. That was the first time we played piano together, almost like a duet.
What aren't you doing? Marissa, don't touch the piano. Maya, don't ever imitate your sister.
She yelled and took the piano away from me. I didn't hate Maya, but feelings of jealousy and inferiority complicated things. I often resented her existence, thinking maybe I would have been more loved if she wasn't born, which made me despise myself. Maya's piano recital. She looked like a princess in her new dress, but I paled in comparison. My parents bought me new clothes too, but I paled in comparison. It wasn't the clothes. I just wasn't cute. Beautiful and talented, Maya played the piano wonderfully, receiving thunderous applause. As compared to her, I was the black sheep of the family, unable to play the piano properly. Even at the family dinner table, Maya was always the center of attention. My parents nodded and smiled lovingly at everything she said, praising her for even trivial things. I tried to draw their attention by talking about various things, but their reactions were cold, or at worst, they'd scold me.
Don't be rude. Be it quietly.
And to the outside world, I might seem like a young lady from a wealthy family with a piano at home, and both parents being music university graduates. Maya and I could appear privileged. Why is it that only Maya is loved? Why does Mom only hug Maya? Why does Dad only gently stroke Maya's head? Why does he happily praise Maya for getting 80 in a test, but coldly laughs at my perfect score saying I lack charm? Since childhood, I always thought this way, and the conclusion young me reached was that I was an ugly, flawed individual. It might seem like a luxurious worry to others. We never lacked food nor were we physically abused. But there was no place for me in our home. In middle school, I joined the light music club, just a regular club at a public middle school. To my parents, who considered anything non-classical as not real music, genres like jazz, rock, and pop were just lumped together.
Oh, it's a might see, Marissa. Dad mocks.
And Mom said, don't bring guitars or anything home.
The club had instruments, mostly donated by alumni, which sounded nice, but they were really just leftovers people didn't want anymore. Only half of the club members, including 2 8th graders and 4 7th graders, actually played instruments. The new members, myself included, were just 3. Surprisingly, in this music club, not even half could play an instrument. Most just came to the club room after school and listened to their favorite music through earphones. Some even watched videos unrelated to music, but I found the club's relaxed atmosphere comfortable. There was a talented guitarist in the grade above me, Richard. He knew a lot of old hit songs, which he would sing and play on his folk guitar. He was good at guitar, but not so much at singing, which was amusing.
Richard, why do you know so many old songs?
I asked, and he replied, my dad and mom love music too. A so-called musical family, you know? When we go to karaoke as a family, it's super fun, while playing an intro of a song.
Just a musical family like that. I was surprised. Influenced by Richard, I started listening to old nostalgic music. One day, I casually hummed along to Richard's guitar.
Art, you're really good at singing. He was surprised.
I hated not just my looks, but my voice too. It wasn't cute or girlish like Maya's. Urged by Richard, I sang. Soon, other club members turned to listen.
Queen, first time hearing such a good live voice. You can really hit those high notes. You have a nice, slightly husky voice.
They all praised me. I wasn't used to being complimented and blushed deeply, but I was incredibly happy. For the first time, I felt recognized and acknowledged. I couldn't stop my tears, and everyone in the club room, confused yet caring, comforted me. From that day, I often sang to Richard's guitar. From old to new songs, club members requested them.
Eventually, maybe I should try an instrument.
I gave up guitar, but maybe I'll start again. People started saying, and the club began to feel like a real-life music club.
Once pot of teen, I was very sad. When Richard graduated, tears streaming, he said to me, Marissa's a crybaby. Why don't you come to the high school same as me? I'll be waiting.
Really?
Yeah, let's play guitar and sing together again. I was over the moon, but then Richard invited me. We're celebrating my graduation with my family. Want to join?
Richard's family was 5 parents, a brother and a sister. We went to a family restaurant for the celebration, followed by karaoke. His siblings teased. Big bro brought a girlfriend.
His father joked, already got a girlfriend after graduating?
His mother surprised. Didn't know you had such a cute friend.
Embarrassed, Richard insisted. She's not my girlfriend, just a friend from music club.
I've never been called cute before. Thank you so much.
I stammered and bowed, making his whole family burst into laughter.
Listen up, everyone. She's really good at singing.
Richard raised the bar by saying that, but when I finished singing, his family gave me a heartfelt round of applause.
I really like Marissa's voice, and I think she looks cute too.
Richard whispered that confession in my ear. It was truly like a dream. I had never been to a family restaurant with my own family, let alone gone to karaoke.
Richard's family was kind and warm, and as we were leaving, I found myself saying I wish I had been born into Richard's family.
Hearing this, Richard, with a face looking like he might cry, gently patted my head. A high school Richard attended was a normal public school, and it seemed I could get in without a problem if I maintained my current grades.
My parents showed little interest in my education, and when I told them which high school I wanted to attend, they just said, oh, okay.
Their minds were preoccupied with what to do about my sister Maya's education. Eventually, Maya decided to go to a flexible private middle school, and it seemed that Dad and Mom had decided to teach her technical music lessons themselves, obviously to prepare for her music college. Since private schooling was expensive, it probably suited my parents that I went to a public school. Even during my exams, I sometimes visited Richard's house or went to karaoke. When I passed my exams, Richard's parents celebrated and were happier for me than my own parents. The high school I entered had a light music club with far better facilities than the middle school, including a drum set, which surprised me. Greeted the senior club members.
I'm Marissa. I can play the keyboard a bit.
I introduced myself, but Richard interjected.
No way. Marissa is a vocalist. That's why we're forming a band.
There was a high school band contest sponsored by a music store in the fall, and it was decided we would practice. They had participated last year but didn't win any prizes because the vocals hadn't met expectations.
That's why I told you I'm not good at singing.
It turned out Richard was the vocalist who hadn't met expectations.
I told the seniors a great vocalist would join us next year. Everyone's been looking forward to it.
Richard said with a smile. Richard had made a place for me at the school. Some of the new first-year members wondered why I was getting special treatment, but when I sang, everyone understood. I couldn't thank Richard enough.
Richard, I'll spend my whole life thanking you. I'm really grateful for everything you've done for me.
I said, bowing my head as we walked home together.
There you go, crying again. Marissa, you're such a crybaby.
Richard said, patting my head kindly. We won second place in the high school band contest, and I received the Best Vocalist award. I enjoyed music greatly during my 3 years of high school and left home as soon as I graduated. My parents were too busy getting Maya into music college to care about what their eldest daughter was doing. Richard and I naturally started living together, working as a waiter and a bartender at a live house and performing live. The band we formed in high school continued into our adult lives, and it was fun to perform on stage with familiar friends. Occasionally, I received messages from Maya, hearing she had graduated from music college and was pursuing a teaching career. I decided to visit home for the first time in a while to congratulate her. My parents' eyes were cold when they saw me with my long hair dyed flashy colors and many earrings. When I said I was working as a bartender at a live house, they looked at me with disdain.
A keyboard player who can hardly play? That seems about right for a dropout.
Mom said, looking at me like a failure.
Shameful! I present Isaac. Even laughing stock of our relatives. Used to rally.
Dad said as if calling me a disgrace to the family. I realized I had no place in this house. But Maya was different.
Excise, you're not planning to come back, are you? I'm envious.
Maya said looking down as I was leaving. Envious of me. What does someone loved and raised by her parents know? I thought that didn't say it. Maya looked so sad. Now I understand. Maya was a victim too.
Man, this is more nerve-wracking than being on stage, I exclaimed.
It's okay. It's okay. It's just like our usual with performances.
Richard said, patting my head as usual. Yes, today is our wedding reception. I thought it wasn't really my style, but I want to announce it to all my acquaintances, pets, and thought it was a good opportunity to mark an end in our own way. Still not being one for formality, we had a standing party outside. Instead of a wedding dress, I wore a revealing white dress, an arrangement of my live performance outfit. Richard, in a suit handed down from his father, was a hit with the band members. At the party venue, my parents and relatives stood out awkwardly. My parents reluctantly accepted the invitation, but upon seeing the atmosphere of the venue, Dad approached me to complain.
Wait, miss. All the relatives are laughing. Yes, we're laughing. It's utterly shameful.
These are all unknown people. It's outrageous.
Indeed, most of the guests were friends and music industry people, dressed as if going to a live house. Hey, Mom, dressed up, looked out of place.
There's a thong from the bride and christened woe to everyone. Surfing stirts. Whisper and Tina Sao. To like Brazili burst much share of formality.
The band members took turns hosting. When I sat at the white grand piano, the relatives laughed.
Isn't she the failure of the musical family?
How can she play the piano in front of people without shame?
I heard such voices, but I was fine.
I've heard this song before.
As I started singing, everyone was engrossed in my voice. Even my parents were no exception. The band members joined in midway, elevating the song. After the song ended, applause erupted from the silent venue.
Isn't this song from that commercial?
Wasn't this the song with a lot of views on the video site?
Is she the real one?
But these lyrics?
I heard whispers off. The song I sang had lyrics about a child who grew up unloved finding their place. Though subtly conveyed, it became quite a topic online as a criticism of toxic parents.
Thank you for attending our wedding and major debut celebration today. Thank you to everyone who supported us until now and in the future, Richard said.
Crackers sounded around the venue and everyone burst into celebration. This year, our band, with live performances and online streaming at its core, had quietly become quite popular, and now we were set to debut with a major label.
Marissa, that's incredible. I've heard that song too.
The relatives said, changing their tune.
For me, truly a member of a musical family.
Weren't they calling me a failure earlier?
But those lyrics,
I said, smirking and looking at my parents. The lyrics included them too, not just my parents. My parents were shaking with red faces.
What do you mean by this? Bringing shame to your parents instead. What do you mean by this? Bringing shame to your parents in such a place.
Demo music, up! Aren't you ashamed of selling out your parents?
Indeed, I had made a hit song using my life and my parents as material. I realized that my feelings would never get through to these parents.
But are you using your words wrong? Shouldn't you be apologizing to Marissa in this situation?
Richard stepped in between me and my parents.
Don't you understand how much she's been hurt since she was young?
I'm yelling fight! Exasperate adders? What happened to you? That's none of your business.
At that moment, with perfect timing, Maya said, "Big sis, Grusk, you were amazing." When that commercial aired on TV, I knew right away it was you, and hugged me.
Dad and Mom looked on in astonishment.
The only one with musical talent in our house was Big Sis. Dad and Mom, with their pride in being music college graduates, never really enjoyed music.
Maya, now a middle school music teacher, said after graduating from music college,
I may not be very talented, but I teach because I want the kids to enjoy music. Dad and Mom might not understand that, she said.
Maya must be a great teacher.
What are you doing, Maya? You never talked back to your parents like this before.
Mom was in a panic.
Essa, is it your influences? Edema has changed. I said the body is in our from.
Dad and Mom probably didn't understand the hardship Maya faced, having to be the perfect daughter they dictated.
Dad, Mom, thank you for coming today. Today is not only a celebration of our marriage and major debut, but also the day I cut ties with you. I no longer consider you my parents. Goodbye,
I said, leaning towards Richard.
Marissa is now my family. My parents, brother, and sister. Though not blood-related, consider Marissa family.
Richard's family, who had been warmly observing our conversation from a distance. Along with my band members, who shared hardships since high school. And above all, Richard himself was there. My place is here. My parents, who had just been turned against by their most beloved daughter, Maya as well, left for home in a visibly depressed state. Soon after, Maya moved out of our parents' house and started living alone. Recently, Maya sometimes joins my band's live shows as a keyboardist. She's a teacher, so it's without pay.
Do you remember playing the piano side by side with you, Big Sis? That was fun, she said.
I remember. It was the happiest memory in that house. I'm happy we can play music together again.
Somewhere along the way, my complex about Maya had disappeared. Like, now she's a sister I'm proud of. Thanks to beautiful Maya, our fan base seems to be expanding. After it became known that the song was about our parents, Dad's music school students increased. But he's being called a toxic parent teacher behind his back, wearing his nerves thin. Mom couldn't stand the cold stares from relatives and neighbors and quit giving private lessons. He's abandoned by Maya, the daughter they doted on the most, and left with nothing but their pathetic pride. They must feel very miserable. Now there's a life in my belly.
I wonder I can love this child. Sometimes I feel anxious, I said, stroking my growing belly.
Marissa will be fine. If by some chance it doesn't happen, I will love Marissa and the child.
Richard whispered, his ear to my belly.
Yeah, there's no way I wouldn't love Richard's child. I'm really thankful to Richard. Thank you.
I am very, very happy now.